About 7 years ago, when I was writing the manuscript that eventually became my first book, A Lady in the Smoke, I imagined that if I could only get an agent and a publisher, I would never feel nervous about writing again. I hope some of you are at least smiling, because that's not how it worked for me. For me, the stress just changed shape. When I had an agent and an editor, I had revisions to do. And as I started on them, I began to feel increasingly anxious and hollowed out and disconnected from my story. For the first time, I was excruciatingly aware that there were people out there who would be attentively and purposefully reading what I wrote. I found myself asking questions like, am I adding too many words to the manuscript? Will the agent like this? Can I get this done on schedule? Is this what the editor expects at this round? But after a few very unproductive days, I realized these weren't the right questions. I was out on a walk with my dog thinking about chapter 2, when Elizabeth, my heroine, has just woken up in a bed in a strange room after surviving a railway crash with her mother. The scene was a little skimpy, so I was trying to build it out. I knew the room was dark, but what did it smell like? It wasn't lavender, because that was home. It was tallow and lye. And what were the sheets like? They weren't smooth. They were coarse but thin, as if they'd been scrubbed over a washboard too many times. There were voices outside. There were women shrieking and men shouting, and she had a fierce headache and a bandage on the side of her temple. And then she remembered about the railway crash. And then she looked over, and the bed in the room, the bed next to her in the room, was empty. So the more productive questions are, what is Elizabeth feeling and noticing? And what does she want right now? That's when I finally put my butt in the chair and stopped foraging in my pantry for snacks. This past summer, I stalled out in a similar way, though for different reasons. Like many of us, I was very anxious about COVID. My daughter ended up getting it, and I could not stay connected to my protagonist. But eventually I found my way back to her by asking the productive questions. Now, just so I'm not misunderstood, I don't mean we should pay no attention to our word count, or that we should ignore the advice that we get from our agent or our editor. But free-floating anxiety about what they will think at some point in the future about something that you haven't even finished writing yet, it isn't productive. It doesn't serve you. So I would just say, if you're feeling any kind of anxiety standing in the way of writing what you want to, try to put it gently to one side and then sit really close to your protagonist. Get in bed with her if you have to, and it may help you find your words.